You either have your live it up 20s and become an underworked, underfunded 30-year-old, or you have your work it up 20s and become an underlived, underexperienced 30-year-old. Or you can have both. If you don't know who I am, my name is Carter Positano. I'm a 22-year-old entrepreneur who has grown and scaled multiple six-figure businesses in less than 3 years. And my goal here on YouTube is to be the mentor and the person that I needed, not only when I was 18, but the person that I needed last year, last month, last week, and yesterday. And the way that I've chosen to do that through YouTube is to share the lessons and the things that I've learned as a young entrepreneur with the world. For people that were in my place that desperately need somebody to tell them the direction they want to go, that isn't Iman Gotzi or some bullshit influencer that's trying to make a quick dollar off of you. I want to share knowledge, and my way that I do that on YouTube is just sharing lessons and things that have pushed me to grow and become the person and put me into the position that I am today. And today I really want to talk about a concept that was told to me a long time ago, probably when I was 18, that I really stuck with for a long time and really decided the direction of my life for a period up until I realized that that is not the way it has to be. And Alex Hormozi was somebody that when I started my entrepreneurship journey was somebody that I found very polarizing, somebody that was so extreme, right? And Alex Hormozi is an extremist, but I have a lot of respect for him today. And if you don't know who he is, he's an author of all the $100 million books, $100 million acquisition, theownerofacquisition.com, and he is work, no play. And that's the life that he wants to live, and that's completely okay. And I agree with a lot of the fundamentals he has, even including the fact that the strong majority of people either have a live it up 20s and become underworked, underexperienced, underfunded 30-year-old, or you have your work it up 20s and you become a pretty underlived 30-year-old. And for almost a year, I really stuck with that to think, well, I want to be rich by 30 so I can be done with this and then do what I want, right? And in that journey, I decided no more weekends, no more days off, 16-hour work days. I didn't hang out with friends. I didn't see people. I didn't go on dates. I even went celibate for a long time when I was like 18 to 19, like that age range. After high school, when I moved out, and I had this concept ingrained in my brain that if I wanted to be rich, if I wanted to be a millionaire, I had to give it all up. I had to give up all the fun, right? And that's how I lived for a long time up until I had a pretty bad incident where I relapsed into drinking and I ended up tearing my AC joint in my shoulder, which to this day, as you guys can probably, I don't know if it's picking up on camera, this here bone is still popped right out. It doesn't do that on the other side. That big bump doesn't exist there, but it's right there. Anyways, and while I was blacked out in the hospital on a bunch of painkillers, I ended up booking my first solo trip to Europe, and I ended up backpacking for a month through these places that I never had money before. I never saw the world, and it was my first time really exploring things. And when I came back, I had such a realization on how much that changed me, and I went, I need to continue to do this. I really need to continue to travel. And since I was 18, I now just had my 22nd birthday, and I've traveled 6 continents out of 7. I've seen 6 out of 7 other wonders of the world, and I've traveled 34 countries. And on top of that, I've managed to start multiple six-figure businesses. And while doing that over the last 3 years, because I started when I was 19, actually, I just turned 22. So yeah, 19 to 20, 20 to 21, 21 to 22. In 3 years, I traveled 34 countries, 6 continents, 6 wonders of the world. And out of those 3 full years, pretty much, I would say I've probably spent upwards of 18 months traveling and 18 months working. And the thing is don't get me wrong. If I put those 18 months directly into working, I would be in a much farther place than I am today, right? I would be far past where I am today. Like, I would be probably multimillionaire if I just spent all that time doing what I was doing. But in saying that, in that time, I've managed to buy myself a $1 million condo, a penthouse loft in the heart of the downtown of the city that I live in now, and I've ran and functioned 2 large 6-figure businesses at this point. I have multiple startups that I'm working on today, and I have made a lot of money in 3 years. Like, I don't want to underplay it. This is my, I've made a lot. I've made a lot of money. I don't need to say absolute numbers. I don't even know absolute numbers, but I have a lot invested. I have a home. I was a homeowner by 21 for not like a starter home. Like, I mean, obviously this is a starter home in a way, but like $1 million place, nobody would classify that as like a beginner home. You know what I mean? And through that, I've made 3 full-length music albums. I've done probably 10 music videos. I've released over 70 songs total. I'm still working on all these things. I've been able to skateboard as much as I want. I've been able to get larger in the gym than I've ever gone. I've done all these things that I like really care about, and I've pushed myself to these upper limits and all these things, and I've had all these experiences. I've had relationships, and I would say, if anything, my relationship have suffered more than anything. But when we talk about a live it up or work it up 20s, okay, you either become underexperienced 30-year-old or underlived 30-year-old, right? I don't agree with this concept anymore, because the thing is, it depends what echelon of this you want to be. I know people that have been traveling since the day they came out of high school. Their lives have been complete and utter hedonism, right? There's been no work. There's been no pain. And I'm not saying that people don't experience pain in relationships, all these things, but like people leave the country. They go to Southeast Asia. They go to Europe, and then they kind of just linger for the next 5, 6, 7 years of their life. And then one day they're like, oh, I should probably work. I should probably start a relationship. Or one thing, I'm not saying that these people aren't happy, right? But people are extremists by nature. People lean one way or the other. I try to be somebody that is split down the middle. And it's a philosophy that I built myself and I live with more than anything. And it's just balance, right? After the hundreds of books I've read, I've learned that balance is the key, right? Balance is the key. And I don't think that your live it up 20s need to be what people are talking about, because the thing is, I don't even drink anymore. I've been sober for 500 days, okay? And I was very on and off drinking for a long time, but I've done so much. So much in my life. And I don't talk about these stories, these travel stories, these crazy things that I've done on this channel much, because it's just not what I do. If you want to look at that, you can go watch my travel vlogs or whatever, right? Like, the stories I have are unbelievable. Like, truly, I tell people their mouths are wide open with the situations I've been in, the random facts that I know, because like you learn so much living the way that I've lived, right? And I've adapted to a growing mindset for a long time, and it's because of that. Oh, on top of that, no, I don't even need to talk about this guy there. But anyways, there's a balance, right? And the thing is, I still know that one day soon, I'm going to be a multi-millionaire. Like, I'm going to be worth a lot of money. I'm going to grow my business larger. I'm going to sell businesses. I'm going to start new businesses. I'm going to continue to pursue music and make money through that, right? That's always been the main goal. But the thing is if you want to be somebody that makes $100 million in their lifetime or before they're 30, you can do that, you know? And you don't need to sacrifice everything for it. And it is picking and choosing your battles, because I don't go out and drink. Every once in a blue moon, I might go out to the bar with friends. And I don't drink anymore, but like last year, 2 years ago, yeah, every once in a while, once every few months, you go meet up with some friends, you go out, you do this, right? But I've become much more disciplined with the time and who I give it to. And that was a very important lesson that I had to learn the hard way. It's a very deep lesson that I had to learn the hard way, but it is the fact that you only have so much time, and it's not that you need to just spend the rest of your life every single day slaving away, because I did that. I've been through that. And the thing that I've learned doing that was it's too much. That isolation is so bad for your brain. You can make money, but if you're depressed and you don't care about what you're doing anymore because you're so isolated, then nothing matters, right? So for me, the ability to be able to travel and work has created a life for me, a balance where I can lock in for a long period of time and then leave and experience life. And it's not like I don't do any work when I'm gone, but for the most part, I come back and I do a reset. You know, like even if I take 2 months off, which is a lot, there's things that I do. There's things that I do with music. There's things that I do with my vintage. There's things that I do with certain businesses that I'm pursuing, right? And I'm fortunate that my main business, my main income is a summer run construction company, right? So I am able to work all summer, and then for the winter, I can ease off the gas a bit. But I still use that time to work on other projects and develop other skills. But when we talk about live it up 20s or work it up 20s, this concept is harmful, because to me, what it says is that you're either a bum at 30 or you're rich at 30. There's no in between. But there is an in between, right? And you can, if you so please, you can work for 10 years straight, 12 years straight from 18 to 30, and you can come out maybe, because not everyone is successful, but you can come out with millions of dollars in your pockets. I know if I worked from when I moved out to now, I would say be worth a few million. I'm not worth a few million. I'm not a multimillionaire right now. But in saying that, people work way easier jobs than me, and things don't work forever. But people that do drop shipping or AI, like they're making $100,000 a month, and that doesn't take a lot of time to learn these skills, especially today's day and age. You don't need to work every single day. And like the thing is one of the things that really sticks to me is like I've become someone that's very ethical in the way that I make money. I won't scam people. I won't screw people over. I will not hurt somebody else in order to greater my journey. Right. I don't want to burn bridges on the way to where I'm going. And some people are going to be cynical. They're going to not be good people, right? It's whatever you believe in. I believe in the concept of karma, and that entails not screwing people over because it'll come back to you. And even if somebody wrongs me, I'm not going to get even with them, but you can make ethical money. You can make it fast. You cannot put a lot of work in, and you can do things that matter, right? Because not everything I've done in my life matters. Not every single decision I make, not every single choice I make every single day matters in the grand scheme of things. I'm not improving the planet, right? But I think you can make a huge difference in even things like this on YouTube. I'm trying to make a difference in the way that I see fit. And through music is always going to be the way that I see fit. That has always been my calling. That is how I want to push people. That's how I want to help people. But in order to do that, I need to make money in order to push myself to become that artist, to have the position to market myself so people can actually hear me and I can be heard, right? And you don't need to improve the planet or help people with the way you make money, is basically what I'm trying to say here. And I think that, like I said, this concept of work it up 20s or live it up 20s creates this idea in your brain that you can't have both. When you can have both. And like I said, I think it's a balance. I think it's finding your middle ground between what you can take and what you need to live, right? I don't need to take 6 months off a year. And I don't, right? I did that 1 year where I took 6 months straight, but I'll take 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. I'll break it up, right? In the summer, I can't really leave, but I'll take a week here, 2 weeks here, right? Breaking it up. I think it's important to a pretty large degree to give yourself grace during these periods of work. Otherwise, if you don't get to see the fruits of your labor, nothing feels like it's worth it, and you will burn out so fast. And on top of that, the person you're developing, the person you're becoming, if you don't have anything to show for it besides money in your bank account, then you haven't lived a life, right? And as much as I am here to push people to be the best version of themselves, I don't just talk about that in the business sense. I talk about that in the life sense. I strive to be a great person, not only in the sense that I want to be great, larger than life, right? There's some narcissism that comes from me. I'm not going to act like it doesn't exist. I think everybody has it to a certain degree. But I want to be a great person to other people and to myself. And that comes from doing a lot of different endeavors, doing a lot of things. But the business doesn't create that alone. It's the things that you learn along the way, and you can learn so much from owning your own businesses and having the trials and triumphs of being broke and not being able to pay rent. I'm not saying everyone needs to be broke to be great, but like these lessons you learn are great. But if I from 18 to now worked the same way I did from 18 to 19 and 19 to 20 with the no days off and the extremism in which I worked, if I still worked that way, the way that I had this extremism at that age for that whole duration of time, I think I'd be dead today. I think I would have killed myself truly, because it is a tough and lonely road. And I'm okay with being independent. I'm okay with being alone, but there's nothing to show for it at the end. And if I died today, I would be content with the story that my life has told so far. And that's really crazy to say as a 22-year-old, but it's true, because anybody that knows me in my life knows who I am, what I've done, where I've been, the hardships I've gone through. I don't talk highly about myself very often, to be honest, because I think you don't always see what other people see, but my story is inspirational in a lot of ways, and I've only come to realize that recently. And like I said, I still learn every day. But when I've talked to full-grown adults that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and they sat down and listened to my story, I brought tears to people's eyes explaining the entire situation, because there's a lot to it. It's not one thing. It was years and years and years and years of triumphs. Trials and triumphs, and I know that people have had harder lives, but not everybody makes it out. And I think my tattoos are a really good way to show that. It's like I don't even get tattooed anymore. I got most of these when I was 16, 15, 17. I got these dragons when I was 17 years old. In high school, I got these dragons, And it's like the scars serve as reminders to show how far you've come. But it's just crazy to me because I would be happy dying today, and I'm not even, I'm barely 22 because of the life I've lived. And on top of that, on top of the amazing life that I've lived so far, on top of all the crazy stories I have to tell, and all these things that I've done, and all these accomplishments that I've had, which I'm only now recognizing at this age, all the things that I've done, it's finally allowed me to look in the mirror and reflect on how far I've come. I wouldn't have gotten there if all I'd done for the last 4 years was build my businesses. And I am ahead of 99% of the people of my age demographic. Most people come out of college and they don't have a dollar to their name. They're in debt. Before 22, I own $1 million condo. I have hundreds of thousands of dollars invested. I have tons of assets. I have multiple running businesses, and I've traveled more than most people travel, even if they spent their whole life traveling, right? Like since they turned 18. And that is a crazy concept. And when you have this idea of extremism in your head that you have to lean one way or another, remember this video, because I'm living proof that not every life has to be linear and not every story has to be a straight line. You can cut it in the middle and you can veer off and then you can come back. And you'll come back. And the thing is if I could make a chart to show you how the money comes in and out and how the work comes in and out, after a 6-month period of working, I'm burnt out, And I might be coming here and here and here, but after that 2, 3, 4 month point, I'm going to start coming down here, right? Now, the thing is if I'm coming down here, then I need to change the path. So the thing is I might actually continue to sink a bit when I travel. I lose money, I lose a little bit of discipline, I lose my habits, I lose my identity a bit. But then I get back, and instead of continuing to sink, when I come back, I shoot back up, right? And that happens countless times, just countless times, where you sink a bit, then shoot back up. And those breaks make everything worth it. Not in the sense that I just want to go and bum out. When I travel, it's not relaxing. I don't go on vacation. I travel. I learn. I push myself even when I travel. It's just different ways than work. But the things that I've learned from traveling, the things that I've learned from doing all these things that I care about are what pushed me to be where I am. And I can tell you, when I'm 30 years old, 8 years from now, I will be worth millions and millions of dollars. I will have tons of properties, and I will have visited probably 100 countries. And the traveling is not going to take away from what I've accomplished. And instead of being an underworked 20-year-old or an underlived 20-year-old, I'm going to be a multi-millionaire who has done more from 18 to 30 than 99.9% of the population has done in their entire lives, and will do in their entire lives. And any life that you crave, any life that you want, is possible and feasible if you go out and get it. So don't be an underworked or an underlived 20-year-old. Have your live it up and your work it up 20s, and be who you want to be. Because the only person that's going to stop you from doing that is you. Once again, if you don't know who I am, my name is Carter Positano, and my goal here on YouTube is to help people through the lessons that I've learned on my journey. I would love a comment, I would love a like, I would love responses on what you guys want to see, what you guys want to hear, lessons that you guys need. And I will do my best to do that. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.